James Talarico went viral for an exchange he had, I think it was with Will Cain on Fox News. And so we will look at that, but lots of coverage was given to that. One thing that I saw circulated from a while ago that I want to start with was actually Pete Hegseth and James Talarico, who himself is a Texas state legislator. And so he's caught up right now in trying to prevent the passage, or maybe it already passed, of this gerrymandered Texas map to grab ridiculously seats for Trump in the midterms, like we just talked about in the last segment. You understand now why they're playing these insane games, because Trump's numbers are really bad. So let's start with this flashback, and then we'll look at his latest appearance on Fox News.
You have made a lot of money personally, and you've enriched a lot of corporations with advertising by getting on here and spewing lies and conspiracy theories to folks who trust you. And so what I'm asking you to do is to tell your voters right now that Donald Trump lost the election in 2020.
At least you've resolved the lie that is Democrats are now for voter ID. It's not your show, sir, but at least you resolved the idea that Democrats are not for voter ID.
In 2020?
Real quick.
Can you answer the question? Did Donald Trump lose the election in 2020?
I'm answering questions. I'm not, don't really feel any obligation to answer anything
an uncomfortable question for you?
No.
Okay, this is big news. Let me see. I tried to call somebody who has bigger inside. Lily, you're on the show. Okay?
Hi.
Hello. Just as someone who's in a sorority, do you want to, did Joe Biden take away your joy and your ability to dance in a sorority?
No.
Cool. Love you.
Love you.
Bye. I guess we can put that in the other segment. I don't know. If you're watching this, that was a callback to the last segment. But yeah, there we go. That was a good clip of James Talarico. Woohoo! And Hegseth, that's the part that bothers me so much, is that we had to stop doing that. We didn't have to, but we chose to move on from every time you're with someone who denied the 2020 election. Don't move on from it, just over and over and over. Oh, wait. I just want to get a basis, because if we don't know how elections are going, if we don't know the basis of our entire democratic process, then what's the point of every other discussion? And press them, because then that happens and you look silly. Well, then you have James Talarico, Texas Democratic state legislator, making his triumphant return to Fox News and going back and forth with Will Cain. He did an excellent job there as well.
He said, I condemn those called Texas rigged. They're similar in that way. So I would assume that means you think they're rigged. The only difference he drew was when? Middle of the decade. Middle census. Well, Gavin Newsom says he's about to do that in California, and Kathy Hochul says she's about to do that in New York. So they are guilty, in your mind, clearly, of rigging elections, clearly in California and New York.
Both of those efforts in those blue states are contingent on if Texas decides to cheat, if Texas Republicans decide to draw these maps in the middle of the decade at the request of the most powerful man in the country.
So
again,
you rigged in response to something you call rigging. You cheat in response to something you think is cheating.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, it's not, I mean, do you not understand? Does he really not understand? No, they're trying to counteract the effects of what Texas is doing mid-decade in this silly attempt to grab seats for Trump. But like, let's think about it. If you were cheating on your spouse and then you found out your spouse was cheating on you, yeah, it'd be more moral for you to go cheat. It would still be bad, probably, but it would definitely be more moral than the person who originally cheated. Think about it that way, Will. Now, you're always the first one to cheat, but
I'm trying to listen to you, and I'd love for you to try to give me a chance to speak. You know, I think that all of us should be alarmed, whether we're Democrats, independents, or Republicans, if the most powerful politician in the country, whether it's President Trump or President Obama, if they are trying to change the rules midway through the decade so that they don't have to face accountability for their actions. What I would ask you is, if Republican policies are so popular, why do they have to redraw the maps before the election?
Well, my answer to that would be a reflection of political popularity is the number of offices you win and the majority that you enjoy. And right now, Representative, you are a distinct minority in the state of Texas. Your points of view are extremely in the minority, and that is a privilege of the majority. You know,
that had nothing to do with the question. Thank you. But It makes total sense. It doesn't make any sense when already, again, these are the two key points if this gets brought up to you. Number one, the net effect of gerrymandering in its current form being allowed in the United States benefits Republicans. If you look at the combined effect of any Democratic states that gerrymander with any Republican states, they come out on top. They're benefiting more from that. And number two, which is connected, Democrats are the party in 2021 that proposed legislation that was shot down by Republicans to ban partisan gerrymandering nationwide. Why do Republicans shoot it down? Because they know that they benefit more from gerrymandering being allowed. So we're all on board with getting rid of this practice altogether, making it to where you have independent commissions that draw these maps in a coherent way that is the best for representation and not from one political party. It is Republicans who completely vote against that. In the meantime, if they keep engaging in these practices, then I think it makes total sense for us to cheat on our spouse. Okay? In connecting it back to that metaphor. Then you have this.
In my view, Representative, you gave the ballgame analogy. In my view, what has happened here is you've done something in certain states and you don't like it when it's done in Republican states. And now
Republicans do it more severely.
You're saying you've done the same thing as us. You've done the same thing as us, and we are going to, by the way, if you do it, we're going to ratchet it up even more, in the words of Gavin Newsom.
My party has never gerrymandered in the middle of the decade at the request of the President of the United States, nor would we. The only way this is going to happen in blue states is if Texas executes this power grab. You mentioned Massachusetts. Right. Do you know the party of the governor that signed that map into law? He was a Republican. It was a Republican governor that signed that map into law. So I just want to be clear with our facts, and I don't want to muddy the waters. All of us, whether we're Democrats, independents, or Republicans, we should stand up to politicians who don't want to face accountability at the ballot box. That's exactly what's happening here. And I asked you, if Republican policies are popular, why do they need to redraw these maps? Why can't they just run on their policies?
I'm getting wrapped on time. I'm enjoying this conversation. I want to let it go on, and I apologize. That's such is the nature of cable television.
So that prompted a post-interview clash where James said, I just went on Fox News to tell the truth about the redistricting power grab in Texas. I asked a simple question. If Republican policies are so popular, why do they need to redraw these maps? Why not run on their policies? He refused to answer and cut the interview early. Will Cain then said, oh, James, trolls distorting the interview is one thing, but you were there. I respectfully gave you 10 minutes, an eternity in cable news, and in all that time, you had no answer as to why you've abandoned your job. You can take a flag to Illinois, but you still cut and run from Texas. Whatever. But he didn't abandon his job. I mean, he did in a literal sense. I don't like when people, this really bothers me about politics, when people purposefully act like they don't understand something, which prevents us from moving forward in a conversation. He knows why Democrats think it's justified to gerrymander in response to the Texas gerrymandering. He should know that the net effect nationwide is Republicans have an advantage that they shouldn't have based on the actual population of the country. If he doesn't do that and prep for an interview, I don't know why he feels like he should do these interviews. He knows that James left the state to try to block what he sees as an unjust, gerrymandered congressional map. So doing like wait, why would you leave your job? Like, wait, you think someone who's in a construction job could just leave? Who's gonna do the wait, you think I show up to my barber one day and he says I'm not working today and then I can't get a haircut? You think you can just do that? You think when I'm going in to get my, what's it called when they go up your butt? Just anyone? What's it called when they do the test up your, no, the test.
I know, I can't
what's it called? Do you think my doctor, when he's gonna put on gloves, lube them and put them up my rear end to test if I have cancer? Do you think he can just not prostate exam? You think he can just not show up to his job when I was looking forward to it? What, so you just can't show up to jobs anymore? It's like, stop. You know why he's not showing up to his job. You can then argue whether that's the correct tactic to block the passage of this map. But we spend all this time in politics that's just wasted pretending like we think the other side is holding a stance or not holding a stance that's not accurate to their actual stance. And then we never get to have the substantive conversations. It's exhausting. I'm exhausted. But a good job there by James Talarico.